Hello everybody, welcome back to another Farming Simulator 25 map guide. Today we're going to take a look at Harrison Farms. But before that, this video is brought to you by Gamer Old Man and Stephen Bond. Thank you for being farm barons. So the Harrison Farms map can be found over at SB Modding's itch.io page. I will have a link to that down in the description below. As a result of being released on itch.io, this will be a PC only map. I don't know of SB Modding's intent as if he's going to plan on submitting this to Giants. I would encourage him to do that. That way this map could be enjoyed by all platforms as opposed to simply PC only. And that's where it's going to be for now. Let me read you some of the description. This is a soft beta release. Now, I did talk to SB Modding about this language with respect to beta, and at this point, the map is in full release, unless there are things found that are broken. And then, of course, the map will be maintained to correct that, but don't look for this map to be further developed at this point. This map is very much playable, but there might be unknown issues. I hope you enjoy it, and let me know either here or over on Discord of any issues you may find. Thanks in advance. This is my first map ever. It's a farm in northwest Ohio, working about 4,500 acres in real life. The map is on the edge of a very small town. The co-op and gas station are real locations, and the roads and the fields are done via satellite image. The main farm is a hub of other businesses that are ran out of the building. They have a diesel shop, hence why the shop is where it is. They also have a massive trucking fleet ran out of there as well, and even an HVAC company. The big stone lot is usually full of semi-trucks and farming equipment. The bottom southeast corner of the map is left as a build-your-own farm. I want it to be a beef and dairy operation, but with limited amount of cow buildings out right now, I could not get myself to half-ass something there. I hope you enjoy. Now, I have to say, I kind of like the fact that that area is down there as kind of a build-your-own area, because really, if you don't like the main farm, or you don't like the secondary farm locations, you really could just set up camp down there in the southeast corner and build something out that fits your needs. Huge thank you to everyone who's helped me and allowed me to use their mods and or buildings. And he's got several modders listed there. You can go ahead and read those. And then, of course, if you want to go ahead and download this, like I've shown on other map videos that feature itch.io, you're going to find the download button. This map is 586 megabytes in size, and this is a standard size map. So we're going to click download. And then it is basically going to download the map. At this point, we can then close this out and then move the map from your downloads folder into your mods folder. And once you do that, you'll be able to fire the map or the game back up. And, well, here we are, loaded into the map. Let's go ahead and check out the PDA. And our main starting farm is right here, kind of centered on the map. Go here to our farmland screen. We're going to see the main starting farm is Farmland ID 3. It includes Field 3 and can be bought in any alternate mode where you do not actually own the farm for $1.8 million. And that's why I would really suggest, regardless of the mode that you're starting in, do select to own the starting farm. That way you don't have to worry about coming up with $1.8 million. Now there are several other farm locations on the map, some big, some small. As was mentioned in the description, the southeast corner of the map, right here, Farmland ID 26, it's 21 hectares in size and can be bought for $1.2 million. And it's going to include a pretty large grass area here. There is a farmhouse located here where you could put down a sleep trigger, and that would be a perfect kind of build your own farm location. We also have the unbuyable land, Farmland ID 1, which is pretty much all of the town area, residential areas, and such. That, if you wanted to buy, that would be a $4 million purchase. Now, there are a few other kind of farming locations. We have a cow farm, or a dairy farm, more like a beef farm based on the cow barn building that's there, at Farmland ID 17. That's going to be 11.64 hectares in size, and it's going to cost just around $700,000 to buy. Down here, we have what I'm calling the Sawmill Farm, simply because it does include a farmhouse. That's going to be at Farmland ID 4. It's 27 hectares in size, and it's going to be buyable for $1.6 million. Now, maybe you just don't have the funds to go big like that, or maybe you just want to start small and work your way up. Well, good thing is that there are a couple really small plots that really just include a couple farm buildings and a house where you can put a sleep trigger. One of those is right across the street from the starting farm at Farmland ID 8. Farmland ID 8, as well as Farmland ID 2. That is going to include a small starting farm. So Farmland 98, $126,264 to buy. Farmland ID 2, which is going to include Field 2, is going to be $598,000 to buy. And then we have Farmland ID 15, which is right here, right in the middle of Field 19. And that's going to be $522,000 to buy. So some of these farmlands are pretty expensive, even though they're relatively fairly small. This map does include all the standard crops that are available to us in Farm Sim 25. We can see those listed here on the left. And if we take a look at our crop counter, we once again do also have the default crop counter available for us on this particular map. We do not own any animals at the start. We do have one pre-placed cow barn in that northeast farm that we just talked about. With respect to contracts, we do have some contracts available. Right now, just loading the map up for the very first time, we've got a baling, fertilizing, and harvest contract coming up. We do have two productions pre-placed on the map. We have a bakery and a sawmill. Those are all the productions that are pre-placed. We do not own any productions at the start either. And while this map does say that it includes 25 collectibles, they are the Riverbend Springs collectibles. And when I did the show collectibles command, none of the little dots popped up. So I do think that this is just a residual of having the collectibles XML in the map, but they're not really actually defined. With respect to starting vehicles, we don't start with any. So regardless of play mode, you start with no vehicles whatsoever. So with that said, I would really suggest when loading this map up for a new save to select starting money of $1 million and to select that you want to own the starting farm. That way you'll have $1 million in the bank to go ahead and start buying some machinery. With respect to sell points, we have one sole sell point on the map, the farmer's market, and that's where you're going to be able to sell all of your crops as well as all of the potential productions that are available here on the map. So let's just jump back here to the PDA once again. And if we come down here to the lower southeast corner, that's where we're going to find the farmer's market. We also have our bakery down here in the southeast corner. And then we have three buy points. We have a buy point for chemicals, so liquid fertilizer, herbicide, and the like. We have a buy point for seed, and we have a buy point for fertilizer. We also have our main fuel point here at the gas station. This is basically the main drag of the town. Like I mentioned, we have our cow farm up here. We have a couple other kind of small optional farming locations right here. Our main starting farm is located here. We do have a fuel point and a grain silo. And then just to the south and west, we have another farmhouse, and then we have the sawmill. And that is basically a rundown of all of the various points of interest on this particular map. Now let's do a little bit of a tour kind of around the farm. But before we go too far, I want to show you where the garage is, or where you're going to be able to buy machinery. Because you may have noticed there wasn't really a location on the map to buy your machinery. Well, the icon is here at the starting farm, kind of to the south of the sheds. So here we have our vehicle shop icon. And from here we can go ahead and just purchase something up. And we'll see that spawn here right beside the shop. So we've got a fairly large area here for vehicles to spawn. So as you are purchasing your starting fleet, you won't have to go very far in order to get all of your machinery. Now, of course, if you elect to own a different farm than the starting farm, well, then you could use something like the store deliveries mod, which is now available over on the Giants Mod Hub in order to modify where vehicles spawn and reset. Let's go ahead and just kind of check out some of these sheds here. all of the sheds on the farm can be sold. In fact, the only thing on the main farmland here that cannot be sold for any reason is going to be this house. Now, this house is not your farmhouse per se. I would kind of call this a helper house or a farmhand house. We've got a huge silo complex located right here. And this is going to be where we're going to have our dump and fill point. We can sell this. Something I do need to check is to see if we can actually buy it and put it down if we should happen to accidentally sell this. So here we have our dump point, we have our fill point, and it's going to have a capacity of 5,432,000 liters. Let's go ahead and jump into build mode just to go ahead and check things out. With respect to our sheds, we do have some custom sheds that are built into the map, and we will be able to also place those down. Now, we don't have a few shed store icons here, but that's okay. You can always just kind of click on it, drag it out here, and see what it looks like. With respect to our silo system, we do not apparently have, there it is. There it is. Just don't have the icon. So $1.5 million, you can put your own large silo complex down. We also have flat bottom bins, and we have fertilizer storage bins as well included with this map. Everything else with respect to sheds looks fairly standard. Come over here to our factories, fairly standard fare here as well. We do have a fermenting silo that we can put down. And we do own a fermenting silo if we do buy the cattle farm. We'll take a look at that here in a moment. Everything else does appear to be fairly standard. No custom animal areas. And we take a look at our painting, fairly standard ground textures, trees, and plants. So let's head back over here to our big red shed. Nice large storage shed. And then this is where we're going to find the workshop trigger. So we have our fuel trigger here. I'm not seeing an activation for our workshop. If we walk out here, we'll get one. So here we have some pallet racks. Yeah, I'm not seeing, we see the floating icon, but we don't actually have a trigger here for the workshop. So hopefully that will be something that will be a quick fix. And then our farmhouse is actually this large house over here across the way. And if we go up here to our covered porch, that's where we're going to find our sleep trigger and our wardrobe trigger. So we have our sleep trigger located right here. And our wardrobe trigger right there. And quite an interesting view, I have to say. Not really sure what's going on there, but that's kind of fun. Now let's run across the street, because across the street we have what I'm calling a small viable farm, because if we do buy that farmland And we will go ahead and buy the other farmlands just to show you. We do have the ability of getting rid of the sheds on this farmland across the street and silos. So that's why I'm calling it a nice small buyable farm, because if we do buy this land, we are able to get rid of the barn and these 2 silos. So again, I've gone ahead and bought that land now, and once we do buy that land, you will see that we do have now 2 silo triggers popping up. So at this point, we do own this shed. We can go into it, make use of it. We can sell it if we want. And we have the 2 flat bottom silos that we can make use of. Let's go ahead and make our way north, and we'll check out the small farm that is directly in front of us. So here we have another large barn. We have some sheds in behind it. We do have the ability of getting rid of all of this if we want. And then at that point, we could, of course, expand the field and just make this one large field area. Or we could just change this around and kind of build it out however we wish. The next little farm area, or at least the fact that we can buy these sheds and make use of them or delete them, is this area here, which again is kind of in the middle of field 19. So if you're somebody that wants to maximize farmland, then of course you could buy this, delete the sheds and create field and close this in, or you could buy it and just make use of it as implement or vehicle storage. To the south of the starting farm, which is over here to our left, we're going to find what I'm calling again the sawmill farm. That's going to be here in this grove of trees, because here we have our production sawmill, one of the 2 production facilities here on the map. So we have our pallet spawn point there. We have our dump point for our wood, our wood cell trigger, and our interactive icon there. And then we also have a farmhouse trailer. So we have a wardrobe trigger and a sleep trigger here as well. Of course, we could clear these trees out and pretty much build whatever else we may want to in this particular location. I'm going to loop around the starting farm, which is located right there, and head up here to the cattle farm, which is going to be farmland ID 4. It does include this large field as well. So I'm calling this the cattle farm or the beef farm because we do have this red cow barn, and we know that this red cow barn does not include a milk trigger. So therefore, we're going to be putting beef cattle in here. And we're going to be able to store 241 cows in this particular shed. We have our fermenting silo located right here. Got some sheds. We've got some fertilizer storage there as well. And a couple flat bottom bins, again, for grain storage. And then if we make our way to the south, we're going to come up along this road that is shooting off at a diagonal. And this road is going to be kind of our northern town road. And that's going to include this fueling station. Further down the road, we're then going to have buy points for seed, buy points for fertilizer, and buy points for chemicals. So when you say chemicals, we're basically talking about liquid fertilizer and herbicide. So we have those right there. If we want to buy, let's say, 3 pallets of herbicide, we just do that. And there we have our pallets of herbicide. Same we're going to go for our seed. Come up here, we can buy pallets of seed. Three pallets of seed, and they're going to spawn over here. And then the same can be said with respect to our solid fertilizer. We continue on this diagonal road. It's going to take us down here to the farmer's market, which is the sole sell point on the map. That's going to be located right here. And then just beyond that, we have our bakery, the second production that's included on the map. So we have our Riverbend Springs Bakery. So we have our pallet spawn point, our interactive icon, and our dump point for our inputs. And then over here, we have that large grassy area. That, again, is kind of the build your own farm area in the southeast corner of the map. So again, I think this is a perfect area. If you really just don't like the other areas, or you really want to expand, maybe expand production or whatever else, then you can buy this. It includes the lane. We've got a farmhouse here. It does not include a sleep trigger, but you can put one down if you want to. And then you have this whole area here to carve up, make fields, or just make it as buildable land. And that, folks, that's pretty much what we have here with respect to Harrison Farm. I'd love to know your thoughts down in the comments below with respect to this map. Is it a map that you are looking forward to giving a try on your own? And again, I do hope that he does maybe take care of a couple of little issues that we seem to have found in this video, and then possibly consider sending it up to Giants for testing and potential release for all platforms, including consoles. Until next time, happy farming.